Now, 8 of Deputy President Paul Mashatile's bodyguards say they fear for their lives. They appeared in the Randburg Magistrates Court yesterday for bail application, covered in masks to hide their identities. They have denied any involvement in a threatening message sent to the person who posted a video of the assault on the motorists on the N1 highway a few weeks ago here in Johannesburg. The VIP officers face 12 charges, including assault, illegal pointing of a firearm, and malicious damage to property. Joining me now is OUTA CEO Wayne Duvenage. Wayne, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's begin with the irony here. The bodyguards say they fear for their lives because should they reveal their identities or allow for their faces to be seen, they think that they will be targeted in the communities from which they come. How should we take this?
I mean, we live in a civilized society, and I don't think that people are going to attack them. They're probably going to be ridiculed, to be shunned by their communities and society at large, even by their friends and maybe family members because of their conduct. So, hiding your face, it's your right to do so, I suppose. We've seen that even before masks came along. People hid their faces behind their shirts and jackets, just because they don't want that fallout. I guess the question we have to ask them is how would they feel if they were 3 occupants in a car treated the way they treated those occupants? And what would they want the perpetrators of that crime to have to be subjected to? And I think accountability and the wrath of society in a peaceful, not a destructive manner, not in a vigilante manner, and the criminal justice system is what we all want here. And they need to know that, and they need to accept and understand that.
Do you think, Wayne, now that they are going through this process, this becomes a lesson for fellow protectors who do the same line of work to say, the person that you are transporting or supposedly protecting in the vehicle, do not think that they are larger than life, that you can do just about anything because you think there is going to be political protection? Or am I making a mountain out of a molehill here? Their behavior, what motivates their behavior?
Yeah, no, you're not making a mountain out of a molehill. This behavior, and maybe even worse than the extent that we saw in that video, has probably happened. We were just fortunate as a nation, and those 3 occupants in the car were very fortunate that there was a vigilant, active citizen, a driver, a motorist, who saw what was happening and quickly filmed it. Had that not happened, and those occupants went to the police station to report that, I don't think anything would have happened. They would have been fobbed off, and you and I would be none the wiser. I don't even think that the authorities would have gone and looked on the cameras in the freeway system to try and identify these individuals. This is what the power of social media is all about now. And so many people, I think, have got away with cutting cars off, putting the lives in danger of other motorists because they believe that they have the right of way, that they can do what they like on the roads, even when they're not even transporting the intended person for whom that protection is provided. They believe that they can take over the roads the way they do. We see them all the time. Their behavior is despicable. I hope this is a big lesson. And again, how much training is required, how much EQ training, how much, resilience and understanding of the type of consequences that can happen. I don't know if these officers have been properly trained, not when you see behavior like that.
Yeah. Wayne, I'm trying to get into their state of mind as they transport the principal, the person who's on board here, and it so happens to be a politician who will say tomorrow, no, we are with our people, we are going to canvass for votes. Talk to us about their state of mind. Do they think that they can do what they did to ordinary human beings because they think that no trouble will come for them because they are somehow shielded by the very person they are transporting.
I think so. I think there's a lot of that behavior, and not only people who transport people in high positions of authority in government, but people who work for, just in various departments. You see it, the extent of maladministration and corruption, and where people are found wanting and caught found wanting, they believe that they will be protected by their superiors because they work for them, and they're not necessarily doing anything different to what other people are doing. So yeah, I think the mindset is so often in government, especially the closer you get to positions of authority, are that they will be protected, and that's because very often they are protected. Very often nothing happens.
Yeah.
There are no consequences for wrongdoing, and we see that in many cases around the country.
And again, I revert then to the original question about the lesson here for would-be culprits who are going to act in the very same way. They might not get caught on camera, but somehow someone will be able to expose what they are doing. What should the lesson be, given that they are in this job of transporting these politicians who think that they are larger than life?
The other lesson is that you're not larger than life. And, you know, I think what Paul Mashatile is going through now is he's got an issue with his brand and his status that he's tackling on many fronts, and he doesn't need that. So really the issue here is, I think, to all of government, you will be less embarrassed and you will have to put out less fires if you yourselves climb down from your pedestals and do the work and start serving your citizens and not treating them as subjects and not treating them as people who you believe work for you. You actually work for the people. And when you get this customer or the citizen-centric mindset right, then you start thinking about this type of behavior. Then you start making sure your staff are trained to do their work properly. And you won't have this embarrassment, and you won't have this fallout and this deficit of trust that keeps growing between citizens and government. And it is because of this hubris and this arrogant approach that government has so often in the way they treat their citizens.
I listened just a few days ago, in fact, I think it was on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. I listened to the ANC Secretary General who fielded a question about this very incident, and you could see him trying to spin his way out of it, trying his level best to almost sound sympathetic to the members of the public, that's their voters, by the way, and at the same time speak for Paul Mashatile, who was being ferried on the day. It reminded me of why the Western Cape decided that they were going to do away with the so-called Blue Light Brigade. Do you think that in ANC-run provinces, that could even be a consideration? I'm sorry, it has to be political.
Yeah, it is political. It is political, and it happens down to mayoral level, even in local government, in small towns where they believe they have this right and to have these escorts, not because they're in any urgent need to get somewhere or that they need the protection. It's a hubris thing. It's an arrogance thing. It's this. I have the right to the freeway. Get out of my way. I have the right to do what I want to do, to abuse, state resources and so forth. It is a mindset that I think the president needs to corral his people together, from cabinet members right down to provincial, and say, hey guys, what is going on here? Why do we need to behave in this way? Let's all just slow down. Let's save this country some money. Let's get in line and do things like, let's travel economy class. Let's travel with the people. Let's feel the pain of the people. Let's not have to abuse and push people off the highway to get to where we want to get to quickly. Let's plan our trips. Let's be subjected to the congestion that our people are subjected to all the time. When they start living with the people and experiencing the pain of the people, they might start running the country for the people in a far more efficient and administratively a better manner than they do right now.
Wayne Duvenage, CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, thank you very much for your time.